We're today doing tasting at Arroyo Cellars. Today we're going to be doing some racking of our wines as we move them through the process. So hey, let's get started. Hey folks, how are you today? Here we are at Arroyo Cellars. Today we're doing outdoor tasting. Since COVID-19 has happened, things have kind of had to change on how we do tastings. So we need to taste outdoors in the open. And that we have a lovely parking lot with some pop-ups. All the wines come out to you in little jars, ready for you to pour into your own glass. So there's little or no human contact with the wines that you're tasting. Part of the things of the tasting is that you can get a charcuterie cone. Please come out and join us. We'd love to see you and talk about wines.
Everything's fine.
Well, good morning. We're at Arroyo Cellars today, and we're doing a little bit of winemaking. Harvest is fast coming, so there are a few things that we needed to do to last year's wines before we start bringing in grapes and juice for the 2020 harvest. So today, John and I are racking the last of our 2019 wines. In particular, we're doing the Cab and the Merlots today. We have about 6 barrels that we need to get accomplished today. And so it's going to be a pretty easy day, but very rewarding. Many of you ask what racking is. Racking is the simple process of taking clean wine off of the sediment that collects at the bottom. Over time, the solids that are in the wines when they were first made start to settle out and they collect at the bottom of the barrel. What wineries do is that they take the clean wine off the sediment at the bottom and then put it into a tank or rack it straight into another barrel. And what that does is that helps to clarify the wine, so that when the wine is ready for bottling and finally taken out of the barrels, is that you have this bright, clear wine that doesn't have any solids, doesn't have any sediment, it's not cloudy, gives the wine a nice appearance. We've kind of gone through, staged all of our barrels. We've gone through and tasted the wines to make sure that there is nothing wrong with a particular barrel. So we've checked all the wines. We were happy with the flavors. They're still young. They'll still be in the barrels for another 6 months or more. So they will have time to further develop. This is just one of the processes of doing it. We're also combining the wines so we get a better understanding of what the overall character and the flavor of our Cab or our Merlot is going to be. So we take our probe that is attached to our pump, slowly stick it into the barrel. We take it all the way down to the bottom and then bring it back up slightly so that we are above the sediment. And then we start pumping the wines. And that this particular barrel is our Merlot. So what I like to do is once we start the pump going and start the process going, I hold the flashlight up to the hose so that as we are pumping the wine, I can find and adjust the level at which the pipe is in the barrel so that I'm above the sediment and that. And if you watch when the wine comes out, if you look here, it's a clean or clear, very bright, very red, and that if I go down to the very bottom, it picks up some sediment and makes gets cloudy. But the good thing is that if you just raise it, it comes back clear again and nice bright clean color. So this wine and this probe will stay right here at this level until the barrel is empty, and then we'll clean the barrels. So we've taken the wine out of the barrels, or racked it out into a tank. We're now taking it from the tank, the clean wine that we took out, and putting it back into the barrels where it'll continue to age. So I'm just trying to gauge and figure out how much more space I have so that when the barrel's full, the wine just doesn't come gushing all out and all over the floor. That's what you don't want to do. But the next thing we do when we top barrels is we put in what is known as potassium metabisulfite, and basically that does two things. It's an antioxidant and it's also antimicrobial. So it keeps things from growing in the wine, and that this is one more step along the process of making these wines stable, so that when we bottle them, that you can take them home and you can age them if you want to in your cellar, or you can drink them immediately. But if you want to age them, this helps the ageability of the wine, helps the wine from deteriorating. You can make wine without using this material, but the shelf life of that wine becomes very, very much diminished, and it is a much harder process. You have to be a lot more diligent, a lot more careful in your process. And now the barrel can go back into the cellar for another 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, depending on when our bottling schedule is. Now that we've racked all the barrels, we don't just throw away the stuff that's in the bottom of the barrels, because there's still wine in there. We can't get everything out. So what we do is we put it into glass carboys or jugs and allow it to naturally clarify over time. If you look at this jug that was filled a couple weeks ago, you can see where the sediment has sunk to the bottom and everything up to the top is clean wine. We will then again rack this clean wine off, and we will use it to top the barrels. So everything gets used and the sediment gets out, gets thrown out, or put in the garden for compost. I hope that you've learned something about winemaking, the winemaking process and how we do it, and we hope that you like how it translates into our wines.